So my building skills have best been described as falling somewhere between a mannequin and a circus chimp. So that's why Sweetwater Sound and Moog were very happy to send me their new Werkstatt analog synth. You actually put it together yourself. I'm always really interested in this because I want to get more into synths. This thing is $200, right? So it's definitely like the most affordable thing that you can get from Moog to get a really cool sound. I've seen some people do this, but we're also gonna do this in like a practical example. We're gonna make some music with it. I'm gonna integrate it into some of the tracks. But one of the reasons it's so inexpensive is because you have to assemble it yourself. So this will be the true test of if anybody can assemble it or if just someone who actually knows about synthesizers. I can't even say the words, so I don't even really know what I'm doing. So join me, and hopefully I will just kind of like time-lapse this in case anything goes wrong, and I'll let you know how easy it actually is. Alright, so update. Basically all I've done is I've screwed in the circuit board and then put these little caps on what is eventually going to be kind of like a little keyboard. That's about it, and I haven't lost anything yet to my knowledge. And we did it. So even a total fool like myself can do this in like 15 to 20 minutes, which means a normal guy or girl could probably do this in like 5 to 10 minutes. So now let's check out what it sounds like and then let's get to using it. All right, changed my mind. We're gonna do the sound example first because I think it turned out really well. So this is gonna be a cover of a classic Beatles song, Eleanor Rigby, but we're synthesizing it. So I'm gonna use a couple different settings that we have, and then after that I'm going to go through how to make it and kind of make it just like a crash course in what I've learned from being a total synth poser and how this is just kind of like a cool way to kind of get into it if there's something you're interested in at a very low cost. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this bass and then kind of get it in to the track. So a lot of plugins make these type of sounds too, but it's like, why do you want to do a hardware thing? I've always found that aside from being able to run it through like pedals and all that stuff too, there's something about tracking something live and using the filters live to kind of add that like movement to it. Just has more of like a tactile feel to it, and it creates more of a performance. I know you can kind of do that stuff by automating plugins and stuff too, but again, I really think kind of doing it live makes a big difference. So let's just kind of add some bass to certain parts of it, see how it sounds.
Lives in a dream, waits at the window, wearing the face that she keeps in a jar by the door. Who is it for? All the lonely people. Where do they all come from? No one comes near, look at him working, donning his socks in the night when there's nobody there. What does he care? All the lonely people.
Sounds great. So we got a little them back.
Church and was buried along with her.
So I got the high part tuned to the key of B. And I'm gonna patch together the Eleanor Rigby intro from just this. Here we go. All right, time for the bass. All right, higher register.
Eleanor Rigby picks up the...
Now, as I've said before, I'm kind of a synth noob. I have no idea how this works. One of the things that I've noticed from watching other videos like this is they kind of seem to assume that you know what you're doing. But if you're buying a DIY $200 synth, it stands to reason you might have absolutely no idea what's happening. So we're going to talk about each of the sections real quick. Basically, those little knobs are keys, right? So you can hear that's like the major scale, okay? The one thing that you want to know is you have to tune this yourself, okay? That's where this frequency thing comes in right here, okay? So if I press a key, that's going to change the frequency that it's in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tune this to the people's key. Basically, what I have here is I have this going direct in to Logic, and I have a tuner up on the screen. All right, so right now it's tuned to an out of tune F sharp. So basically I want to hit this key and then tune it until I get to the people's key of G, okay? Now that sounds really annoying if you just kind of keep going back and forth, but let's talk about one other thing right here. This is going to be the VCA mode. Is it on or is it EG for envelope generator? If it's on, it's basically just going to output the sound of whatever you're hearing, right? So that's a good way to tune it, is turn that envelope generator on and then look at a tuner, right? Okay, see, so there's an A. So now I'm gonna mess with the frequency. Until I get pretty close, okay? And that right there, that's close enough for what we're doing right here, okay? So, back to the actual keys, right? Basically, you've just heard some nonsense. Okay? But this is essentially in the people's key, the key of G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. And then the other notes are going to be the top row here, okay? So you can still play pretty much every note. Now, what we want to do, we've got two types of waves. We have a pulse and a saw. So let me actually kind of make the frequency a little higher. We'll go back to G later, but there's a pulse wave and there's a saw wave, okay? Now, the thing about a pulse has another thing where you can adjust the width with the pulse wave modulation for the width, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah. And again, you can just kind of adjust how that sounds, all right? So I think one of the more important things are going to be the LFO and then the filter, all right? VCF, voltage controlled filter. If you want to get more into voltage stuff, just look it up. But the filter, and I think the best thing to do is just to have this on so we can always kind of hear the droning of it. Okay, let's make this a little lower. Okay, so what I did, I turned the cutoff all the way down. What that means is you're not hearing any frequencies because I cut them all off. So as I turn this up, you'll start to hear some low end. And then all the way counterclockwise is going to be the entire waveform, right? This resonance knob right here is something you always want to have off if you're a synth noob like me, because what it does is it focuses in on certain parts of the wave, right? So you can hear that high-pitched, like, whistly type sound. I hate that sound. So we're going to basically turn that off, all right? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this blinking thing right here. This is the Lfo Low Frequency Oscillator. A low frequency is just an interval. So right now, it's oscillating at that frequency, okay, as it's blinking it. You can turn the rate up to make it blink super fast or super low. What that does, you're not actually hearing it right now because we're not really sending anything to the LFO. We need to use this as a modulation device, okay? So, right now, once I increase the amount of the VCO mod, now you can hear that waveform is being manipulated by that LFO. I can make it faster. Or super slow, okay? So, there's like a lot of different things that you can do, all right? So we're gonna turn the LFO basically off where we just kind of have that. I'm also gonna turn the main volume off here because I wanna talk really quickly about the envelope generator, okay? So I wanna hear what these sound like. I'm gonna turn the cutoff all the way up, maybe make it a little higher. Okay, so now the regular notes again. Now basically when I hit a note, it kind of starts right away, and then it fades out a little bit slower. How fast it starts is the attack, okay? The attack is all the way counterclockwise. So right when I press that little button, it sounds. If I move this up, you can see it takes a little bit of time to get to its maximum initial volume. Okay? Now again, if I have it all the way here, it's going to hit the max volume right away. Now if I hit the decay all the way down, this is how long it takes for the signal to just disappear. As soon as I hit it, it decays into nothing, right? So you can really kind of have that decay take a long time, or kind of manipulate it yourself as it's happening, all right? So there's like a million different things that you could do. It has sustain on and off. You can just turn sustain on and off. And basically that just takes it right from the attach to the decay thing. So there's a lot of different things you can do. Last thing I'll talk about, because you can go into for hours talking about this stuff, is the little glide knob right here. That's basically how long it takes from one note to go to another note. All right? See how there's a little bit of delay there? How long it takes from one note to go to another note. So right now it's instantaneous, okay? If I were to like turn this back on, it happens pretty quick. Now if I turn this glide way up, it's still going. Okay, so basically this is just kind of like the very bare minimum of understanding how synth voltage controlled oscillators work, but I always just thought that was like something I really needed an explanation for when I first started. But now let's actually put together the preset, because again we have this whole other panel that we haven't talked about. I'm just gonna this is basically just a way to route everything with these different like cables and stuff that they give you too. So they give you like some preset instructions, which I'm gonna assemble right now. We'll see how that goes. Cables on the side now to kind of give us some different sounds that we can work with. So basically this is the Sinister Bass preset. Okay, now another thing that I should tell you is you can't play two notes at the same time. It's monophonic. So if you're holding two things down, it's only gonna play the lower one. Okay, now if I have that on, I can start playing super classy bass riffs like Alright, so that's what we got so far. I will link you once the music video gets up, whenever we finish this song or whatever. But yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool, and I definitely learned a lot just kind of checking this out. Again, for under $200, I think it just educationally it's pretty cool, but I definitely wanted to check out how it sounded in a project, and I think it sounds pretty good. So yeah, thank you to Sweetwater.com and Moog. Make sure you pronounce it correctly, Moog, not Moog. It may seem counterintuitive, but that's how you show that you're a synth noob if you say Moog. And check it out. Again, super inexpensive. Could be like a great gift for a musician, because it's just fun just going through the process of it. And it's something that I will definitely have on the desk and use in the future. So if you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.